You can
Yeah.
see us?
Yeah.
Cool.
At least the stream can, which is the important part.
Awesome. Yeah, streaming, connecting all that stuff is crazy. First, are we live right now?
We're live right now.
Oh, cool. I was wondering if there's a link I can share it on all the socials.
Yes, Alan should have it. Alan, you send her the link that is on our Facebook page.
Alan?
Alan?
I think he's probably working on his motorcycle in the garage. He's always out there.
He's watching. We've been. I've actually been streaming since 10 o'clock.
Oh wow.
Mountain time. So I'm doing like a 6-hour stream.
Oh my God.
Woo.
Been playing American Truck Simulator, and trucking. That's why I'm wearing the cowboy hat. And so just talked to Rick to Jesus a little bit ago from Adelita's Way. So.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. So I thought it'd be fun to talk to some friends of ours. So we're doing this to help raise money for the Alzheimer Association of Greater Idaho. But it's been a little bit since we've seen you. How have you guys been handling the pandemic and the downtime?
Oh man, we're so good at keeping busy as it is, you know. He's just been he built up his studio, so he's been basically living in the dungeon.
Yeah, so my days have pretty much stayed the same. I just wake up in the morning, I make some coffee, and then I just go inside the studio. And I'm just in there all day writing music or giving lessons or doing whatever it is. And then by night, I come out, watch some TV, play some guitar, you know?
Yeah.
That's a full day. That's a full day.
You know, the first thing, well, obviously, as soon as we released our album, March 13th, we got word that the Sebastian Bach tour was postponed till the fall. So let's hope. And that day I was just coming home from the gym because before a tour, I have to try to get all in shape so that I'm not like out of breath after the first song. And I was like coming back from the gym and then they're like, tour's postponed. And I called up to order a pizza. I was like, all right, I'm going to eat a whole freaking pizza right now.
Right out the window. Yeah. It was not, you think that when that sort of thing happens and when the quarantine started that, hey, you know what? I'm probably going to get into better shape here. I'm going to be eating better. The exact opposite. I gained a bunch of weight. It's been a bad scene.
I have mastered the art of the cupcake.
Oh, have you making cupcakes?
Well, my first batch of cupcakes.
Or eating them.
It was like rocks, like you could break a window with it. And the second batch, I just didn't cook long enough and it was falling apart. And the third batch was finally, I figured it out. You need a measuring cup and you have to follow the rules.
Well, yeah, but you guys are vegan, aren't you?
No.
No?
We're, I guess, liberal vegetarians. Sometimes we're vegetarians, we're not.
Okay, because that makes it a little more difficult with the cooking. So who does the cooking at the house?
Well, usually whatever TV dinner is available at the marketplace.
Well, she'll bake and she makes some stuff and then I make some things.
Alan makes his own bread, his own pizza from scratch. Like the man is like planting his own like vegetable garden.
Yeah. So let's talk about Alan for just a second because
right here, I got him.
It's an interesting thing where we've known that guy for a really long time, and he's he's always listened to the station, and he's even won a couple concert trips. Hey, buddy, we went to Rock on the Range together, and so he sent us this package when Finally Free first came out with ramen and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he fell in love with you guys from the very beginning, and then never let up. And the next thing you know, he's out there and he's your driver for your last tour.
Yeah. You want to explain?
Last two tours?
Last two tours, yeah. Well, I mean, the man would ride his motorcycle 18 hours to a show, and we were like, okay, if you can ride that and not die for 18 hours by yourself at night, maybe you would want to drive. And so he's a lot. It keeps us from all backseat driving each other. I just backseat drive him.
Yeah, that's always a problem. Nice and having a safe driver. But yes, you took the Scotsman away from us. He moved here a couple months ago, right, Alan?
Yeah, just about a month ago, just met me.
Mm-hmm. He had 10 motorcycles, and he's like, how many can I bring? I'm like, bring the ones that work.
He had 10? I didn't know you had 10 bikes, man.
Yeah.
So we brought 4. Only 4.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we were riding around in the country. Like, we moved a little on the outskirts of Los Angeles. You know, this whole thing is about Alzheimer's and stuff. And I know tomorrow's Father's Day, and that was pretty much the last time that he saw his dad. But his dad also left a little bit of, I call it angel money, to help put a deposit on a house. And so we're in a house, and we have 4 bedrooms now. We're a little out of LA because it's too expensive, but we were like, well, we have all these bedrooms. Do you want to like be our roommate?
That is that's amazing, and yeah, Merritt. I mean, I had reached out to some people, and I think Alan had seen it, and just I wanted to talk to you guys and see about some people who had a personal connection to Alzheimer's, just to bring it home a little bit more. And my mom passed away 2 years ago in April from Alzheimer's, and it is a really tough thing to go through that and see it happen, because it's such a slow thing. And I'm really sorry to hear about your dad, man. It's tough. What were your experiences like leading up, with him and the disease?
It was so weird because I didn't really know what it was when he was diagnosed. And he was diagnosed in 2010. So I lived in Flagstaff, Arizona, and that's where I went to college and high school and all that. And then I moved out here to pursue music and all that stuff. And then about 6 months after living here, he got diagnosed, and I really didn't know anything about it. I just thought it was just like old people losing their memory, like nothing too crazy, just like your typical old person not being able to remember certain things.
Right.
And so I just kind of thought it was almost like a normal thing. It was like, oh, it just means that his memory is just like kind of gonna not be as good as it was. And then, and then my mom told me more about it, and then I sort of realized the extent to like what the disease kind of does to people. And so the first few years, there wasn't really anything too weird. It was just, like every now and then he would like misplace something or forget something small. So
Yeah.
so it wasn't really like it didn't really have too much of an effect. Then at about 5 years or so, that's when my mom, my sister, and I could really kind of tell that he was forgetting things more and more often and stuff like that. And then about, I think like 4 years ago, no, about 3 years ago, he started to do this. So they go through these stages apparently, and and he went through like every stage, by the book. So one of the stages is they start to like kind of wander. So they just kind of get up and they just kind of wander around. And how it was explained to me was it was kind of like his mind was like somewhere else. Like he kept he'd wake up like at like midnight or something, and he'd stare out the window. And then my mom would get up and ask him, like why is he why are you staring out the window? Like, do you see someone or what? And he said that he was waiting for his dad. And stuff like that, or he would say like, oh, I have to go somewhere, I have to like do this thing. And he would kind of get like frustrated because he'd feel like he had to go somewhere, and she'd be like, where do you have to go? You don't have to go anywhere. And he would say like his superior officer wanted him to do this thing. So it brought him back to like when he was in the Navy. So it was like he was, it seemed to me like he was kind of going in and out of these like memories. Like at one point he thought he would be like back home where he grew up, and then he would be in the military, and then he would like kind of come back to reality. So he was kind of jumping around, and so he would like get up and he would like leave and go wander. And to me, it almost kind of seemed like it was almost like a weird dream state. Like when you fall asleep and you sleepwalk, or like you wake up and you think you're somewhere else. And so you get up and you like can't tell where you're at. It kind of seemed like that. So it never got too crazy. He never tried to like jump out of a car or anything crazy like that. But he did, like we went to go to Florida and
For the wedding.
yeah, and so it was his last sort of like time flying, and so we got to Florida, and so we had this bus and the engine kept breaking down, and like so she went to Florida to like prepare for like the wedding and all this stuff. And
We lost his dad for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so like my parents came out there, and while I was dealing with the bus, he kind of wandered off, and like
we had the cops looking for him. We were running around the city, like just trying to find him. I'll take it from here on. This story is really cute. Everybody going crazy trying to find this little old man, and then he finally just walks up to us. He's like, "Hey," and we're like, "Where have you been?" And he's like, "Oh, just walking around." And then his mom looks at his sweater, and he's like, "Wendell, whose sweater is that?" And he's like, "It's my sweater. It says like Illinois State or something on it." And she's like, no, you don't own a sweater like that. And he's like, where'd you get it? In the room. Apparently he went into somebody else's hotel room, stole their sweater, and left. And she's like, Wendell, you're going to go to jail for stealing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was cute, actually.
So that was kind of like the first instance of like, oh wow, something is like kind of like, wow, this is kind of bad. And then he started to get more like aggressive, just like frustrated, because my dad was like, he worked, like he built computers, he worked for NASA, and like
he put a monkey in space.
Like he did like, all this stuff. And so he always had a really good memory, and he was always like really, really smart. And so for him, he like was consistently trying to make sense of the world, like through this disease. And so he began to get really frustrated. So there was a point in time where my mom just could not sort of like keep him in line or like watch over him. So as a family, we decided that we had to put him in some like
memory care.
Like
memory care.
Yeah, and so
he couldn't run away.
Yeah, and so that way, like my mom could go to work, and she wouldn't have to worry about him like taking off or doing stuff like this. And and my sister and I live out here in Los Angeles, so we would try to go back like when we could, but when you're in a band and you're on the road, it it makes things kind of hard. But so he kind of jumped around a few places, and things were kind of going good. And then and every year, like we would visit and stuff, and you could just tell like more and more, like he was just not being able to recognize, a lot of stuff. He never got to the point where he never knew who like I was or my sister or my mom. He always recognized us, but he would definitely sometimes it was like he wasn't really there. And then let's see, and then about a year ago, so we got back from the Godsmack tour, and
it was before Father's Day.
Yeah, it was before Father's Day, and she wanted me to go.
I bought him a plane ticket for Father's Day because he had fallen, and we knew that it was getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had just a few. So I was like, you need to go see your dad. Like, go see him. He had a couple strokes, I think.
Yeah, like throughout that tour, my mom would call me, and she said that he was having these small strokes. and nothing too major, but it was definitely something. And then, and then we got back, and then I found out like that he fell. And then, so last Father's Day, I went out and, and I was there with him, and it just, at that moment, I kind of knew, like, the next time if I did see him, it would have been around Christmas because we would have had all the touring and stuff. But I kind of knew that was going to be the last time, And so I came back, and then we went off on tour, and we were
with Like a Storm Through Fire.
Yeah, with Like a Storm Through Fire. And so about halfway through that tour, because my sister was going to come out and kind of do the same thing that I did because I told her that she should. And then he like had another stroke, and so my mom called, and she knew that his time was really, really close. And so my sister like hauled, just like, got to the airport and then saw him, and then
he waited for her.
Yeah.
I really believe that he
man.
Yeah. And then it was one of those things where I always knew when that day happened, I just knew that I was going to be on tour. And it was literally like, we just played a show, and we were in Toledo, Ohio, and we just played a show.
We were in the middle of VIP in the RV.
Yeah, and we were right in the middle of VIP, and I got a call, and I was stepped into like the bathroom, and then I got the call, and then it was just like,
I kicked everybody out of the RV.
Well, and then it was photo time.
Yeah.
So then I had to walk out, and it was like, like, let's take photos, and no one knew, But,
no, they knew when I kicked everybody out.
Well, yeah.
We gotta go.
Yeah, but during the VIP, no one knew. So once that was done, then I had to address the whole thing, and then the funeral was like a few weeks later, and then we did this thing where like we played a show in like, I think it was North Carolina, and then her and I got dropped off at the airport, flew to Denver,
rented a car to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, and then had the funeral, and then had to fly all the way back to Dallas for a show. So it was like this day and a half of just absolute craziness. But yeah, it was that whole 10 years, like the first 5 years, like I said, it wasn't too crazy. It was really the last 5 years where you just really saw like someone go downhill. And it's so weird because you go through your entire life seeing, like your mom or your dad, and you see them in this certain way. And then you become an adult, and you're able to communicate with them as an adult, and you can like share experiences and stuff like that. And then to like see somebody do like amazing things throughout your life, and then to slowly watch them fade away is like, it's just like a horrible experience. It's like a form of torture, it seems like, because it's like, it's not like he was there and then he was gone. It was like he was slowly just like dissipating.
I feel like it's harder on the family. I feel like he wasn't as he was kind of not always aware of it. I mean, he would joke, and he was still as like, he'd make his little one-liners and try to have a conversation, and the way he would joke, like I was showing him pictures. We made this little collage of like the whole family and wedding and stuff, and we went to his memory care unit, and I was like, "Hey, Wendell, do you know who these people are?" He's like, "Nope, no idea." And he'd joke around about it. He knew that he had a bad memory, but he was like in good spirits for the most part.
Yeah. He always he was always like positive about stuff. And it was definitely harder for us than it was for him, for sure, which is, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have it be hard for like us, because we can deal with it, than like have it be hard on him. So he was like pretty much the entire time like as comfortable as like we could make him, like, you know what I mean?
The problem with Alzheimer's is that when people are affected by it, it goes so fast. There's no time, and you're so busy taking care of that person. There's no time to really like move something to help Alzheimer's. Everybody's so concerned with cancer and everything. There's not enough like science around Alzheimer's and trying to cure it in like enough people. It's almost like with cancer, there's a lot of people that pass away from that, but like you're so busy and so concerned trying to make sure this person's okay, you're like to actually get things happening with the science behind it, it's really difficult, I think.
Yeah, Merritt and Mixi, that story about your father who sounded like a totally cool guy, man. It's so familiar to me because it's kind of how it was for my mom. She got diagnosed with dementia, and she had that for quite a long time. And to see them slowly slip is so difficult and devastating to the families. My sister was her primary caregiver the majority of that time, and so she saw it on a daily basis. I think the hardest thing for us was when she forgot our names. And we were lucky too because she was a happy-go-lucky person. So she was, happy up until the very end, dancing and having a good time. And I don't know if you can see it back here. We got a piano back here. That piano was my mom's. It's been in the family forever. And she loved music, and she would play the piano all the time. And she could play almost up to the end. And that was hard when she couldn't play anymore. And, she wasn't a concert pianist by any means, but, it's interesting how music has an effect on Alzheimer's. And you're right about the research, Mixi. Cancer has been around for a very long time, and the research has been ongoing for a while. Alzheimer's is really in the last 10, 15 years. But later today in the stream, we'll be talking to David Wilson. He's the chairman of the board for the greater chapter of Idaho for Alzheimer's Association. And they're starting to make some gains in the world of research. There's no real treatment right now. We don't even know how or why people get Alzheimer's is the crazy thing. But that's why I wanted to do this and spend, the platform that I have being a radio personality to try to, make an effect and hopefully bring in some research dollars so that other families don't have to go through this and see the person they love, suffer this way, even though, they might not be really suffering necessarily, but it certainly is a difficult thing for us as family to see them go through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. And like, that's one thing, like with music, it like does some, like all the people at the memory place, no matter what stages they were in, they would always have people come in and play music, or they would have music playing. And I don't know. And a lot of the time it was like this really, really old country kind of music. And it was kind of scary because it was like, oh God, like this is kind of creepy. But regardless of what the style of music was, it
lured
where music affects people's minds. So whenever you listen to music, it lightens up these certain areas of your mind, and it keeps those things active. So I
remember when I was playing the piano a little bit, nobody was in the living room at the memory care unit, and then they slowly started like walking over.
Yeah. And so I've seen people that have really, really bad dementia and stuff, don't remember anything, but then you turn on a song and they like come back and they're like, yeah. Oh, and then they start trying to sing it, or they recognize it, or it lightens up parts of their mind that the disease is almost like turned off, I guess. And when my dad, he was like in a lot of pain, like when he fell because he broke his hip. So when I saw him, he was just kind of like chilling, and he was kind of resting. And so I thought, I'll just like play some music, and obviously I'm not going to play like Cannibal Corpse or anything like that, but so I turned on some music that I really love that's not like too hard or too scary or anything. So I put on some music from some of my favorite soundtracks. One is being Inception. I'm a huge Hans Zimmer fan. And then the other one.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah.
I love Hans Zimmer. He's my favorite composer.
He has a boy crush on him for sure.
Oh, dude.
Me too.
100%. And so I played some tracks from Inception, like the lighter ones, like not the Brahmi ones, but and then some from Interstellar. And like it was just it was really interesting because it sets like a chill mood and all this, and it's like this nice music. But I could see once the music started playing, like he wasn't resting as in like he was asleep. Like he was like uncomfortably in pain and just kind of chilling. But whenever I turned on the music, I could tell like his facial expression, like his body, like everything just kind of relaxed. And it was almost like the pain kind of stopped or his mind went somewhere else, because as like the music like was progressing, like I could almost see him physically like respond to it in like a positive way. It was really, really interesting. But to me, it's just another reason why I believe that music is extremely important, not just
healing.
Yeah, for healing and all this, and not just for like, oh, like I'm gonna play guitar in front of people and stuff, but it's like it really is something more like spiritual and more like emotional, and there is a lot of good qualities that music has that I think people know and understand, but I don't know if people really can see the depth of understanding.
Yeah, it creates a connection without a doubt. And my mom was a huge Elvis fan, so whenever she would hear Elvis, she would just start dancing.
That's awesome.
And having a good time. So we kept a lot of Elvis going throughout the house. So I appreciate those stories, guys. What are the plans? I know some people are starting to plan out their tours for 21. How about you kids? Have you figured what's going on for you guys as far as that goes?
Well, I mean, we still have we're doing Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, like the only festival still going, I think. You can't tell a bunch of bikers not to go to,
Yeah, they don't respond to those kind of warnings.
We're gonna go. I don't care what you say, right? So the city had a vote, and Sturgis is definitely happening. So we're gonna head out there. We had 10 festivals that were postponed till next year. Hopefully, we're still on the bills on all of them. So I think they're gonna keep the same lineup, is what I've been told, which is good. Sebastian Bach dates got moved from March to the end of October. So I'm still like hoping it's all, everything's kind of up in the air. But when we're just waiting on things to start opening up, because nobody wants to confirm anything or make any like commitments and then, promote something and then end up having to cancel or postpone again, so everybody's kind of waiting until it cools down. We're actually doing a secret, well, I guess it's not secret if I'm telling you, it's a private barbecue show on 4th of July. So
are you going to stream this, or?
We're not going to stream it because the internet signal, and it's just, I think the streaming qualities is when you record it and you can mix it in, right? Like the streaming platforms, it just doesn't sound good. And I'm really like particular on the quality. So I want to have control over the sound quality. So I want to be able to mix it later and take out the parts that I wasn't very good at. But yeah, that didn't happen.
Never happens.
Yeah. So we're probably going to release it after. It's going to be at a horse rescue that we found 15 minutes from this house that takes.
I saw some video the other day of you guys out there.
Yeah, I just met this woman because we're in Riverside County, which is about an hour and a half out of LA now. And so there's horses everywhere. And I was like, I want to play with a horse. And she has 40 thoroughbreds that are ex-race horses and, abandoned issues that she brought in. And it's one woman, 30 acres. She doesn't know what to do.
Wow.
She needs help. And I want to play with horses. So I guess we all win in this situation.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, Mixi, do you guys still have the Filthy Animal clothing line?
Yeah, I've been slacking on creating new designs. I have kittens that I'm fostering right now. I'm giving them back tomorrow, actually. And the house moving, everything. We brought the entire band gear here so we can practice. Our whole living room is set up as like a rehearsal space now. So
Nice.
we can actually play a show. We were going to have the show in our backyard until I found this other place. I was like, well, we'll meet the neighbors for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, wish you good luck. We can't wait to see that, and then hopefully, as we get closer to a time when the world gets churning again, you guys, I think, probably will end up in Boise at some point to play a show.
It's been forever. It's been so
yeah.
long.
And we'll keep working on some Warrior action as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, if you can send a link and I can post this on all the socials to try to get the word out a little more, that'd be rad.
Yeah. What will happen here in a couple days after we do the stream? I'm gonna make a blog post with all the interviews and everything. So and post them on YouTube. So I'll get you all of that, and you can share it away.
Oops, I put live right now. I'll delete that.
We are live. We're live.
We are live? Oh, okay, cool.
We're live.
Never mind.
We've been live.
No, we've been live the entire time, and you didn't. And thank you for not swearing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually just go into like don't swear on radio mode.
I love it. I love it. We're very thankful that there are those of you like that. It's fun.
We try. You should hear. We curse like a sailor when we're off the air.
So do we. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking this time. It's been great, and I should probably get back on the road trucking.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you so much for having us, and I hope
Thanks,
that you
man.
guys raise as much money and awareness as possible.
You betcha. And thanks for sharing your story. It's one of those things where it also feels good to talk about it, and to that way, you help remembering the people that we lost, your father and my mom. And the more we talk about them, the better it is for all of us.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Thank
Cool,
you.
man.
All right, kids. We'll see.